What's on your doctorate, by the way, Addy?
Oh, thank you so much. Thank
I've
you.
got
Lisa.
trouble with me. When can we make appointments with you, Amy? Because we can't get doctor's appointments for nothing.
Right, we are starting our meeting. Right, welcome everybody to tonight's resources meeting.
Welcome.
Okay, have we got anybody for public session? No, thank you. Right, apologies for absence.
Apologies for Councillor Davey, Councillor Markey, Councillor Rogers, Councillor Schaefer and Councillor.
No, accept those.
Yes, we do.
Thank you. These declarations of interest.
Um,
Right.
A town clerk would say whether we'll call it or not.
The sun's actually confusing.
Yeah.
Well, I could put that before it.
Yeah, I think.
Yes.
Yeah.
We are.
Yeah, we are obviously.
Right. That means we've got a star.
No, it's not
Right,
good.
so
Is it?
item 3 minutes of the last meeting. Is everybody happy to receive and accept those?
Yep.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Thank you. Item 4 minutes of the communicating strategy group.
Those we note them.
Those? Yeah. Well, thank you. Item 5 budgets, 5.1. We've got appendix A. Okay, so I'll go down
Yeah, give me a chance to open it.
page by page. So I'll go by the page numbers. It's at the top where it's 4 of 44. So that's what we'll be going by.
Mhm.
So if anybody's got anything on page 444? No. Page 5. Page 6. Page 7. Page 8. Page 9. Page 10.
And forward.
Right, we'll go through that, thank you. 5.2 summary income and expenditure report, appendix B. And I'll do the same numbering, so 11 of 44.
Slow down a bit. I can open it out in a quick. I have, but I'm trying to do both at once.
Right, so page 11 of 44. Page 12.
I think just some verification on month 1.
Yeah,
The total figures at the bottom, Chairman, they will match up, but just ask town clerk, she's gentle. Those total figures on the admin reserves and whatever. You're happy they all match up to me.
I am, all is in order, we're very early at the start.
That's what I meant. If they match up, there's no inconsistencies there, just to make sure that you, if anyone watching, I think we actually ask any question and read them.
well, I think hopefully members will have read agenda before the meeting.
Well, you hope so, wouldn't you?
Yeah. Page 13. Page 4, no, so that's the end of the next page.
Page 13, Chairman, just to ask the town clerk whether those earmark reserves that she's got down there, expenditure and whatever, there's a second column where it says the same figure beneath it, and the total of earmark reserves and plus transfers. Is she happy with those?
Again, yes, I will be putting a report to.
That's what I know you will, but I
Council
know we need to ask you if you're happy with them, and then we can do the report when you bring.
I mean, what I should point out, we are whipping through this, but that's because there's been so little expenditure for you to discuss because we are so early into the year.
Yeah. Then 5.3 purchase ledger for March and April of this year. Let's see. Yeah, Robin?
You seem to have a lot of hires. That's not because of the condition of the local roads, is it, or is it just natural wear?
It's because our MOTs and services have all been done.
Yeah, we're not having extremely like every day you see a photograph of my tyre on Facebook at the moment. We're not suffering the same as other people.
Not that I'm made aware of, as far as I'm aware, they're all just because the vehicles have been in for their services and MOTs and that time.
Yeah.
Page 15 of 44. Martin.
It's not to do with the accounts. At the bottom, the replacement dog bin AV 555. Was that due to vandalising or, as I say, it's nothing to do with the accounts. I was just trying.
I think it was the one that was vandalised. Yes.
At the
I
top
wanna
of
say
form.
100%.
At the top of, well, by,
Yeah, it's
Yeah,
the one that's been on
by the
order,
school.
we've been waiting.
if it is vandalised, we probably don't for that amount, do we? Pay me back on insurance or?
We wouldn't on that.
No.
It wouldn't be worth it.
No, okay.
But our premiums are,
Just have to grin and bear it.
Yes.
Thank you very much.
Page 16.
just the that payment to the old jail, which it says I've got can't really what's that for? I can't remember.
That's our contribution towards the phone and the electric for the TIC.
Yeah, thank you. Don't think that it's not a grant, it's a
No, it does say next
No,
to it,
yeah,
80% phone and 25% electric.
I haven't got my glasses on me.
No, that's fine.
I'm doing very well to see it all really. Look, a piece of slack.
Right, page 17.
What's Tudor environment mental?
No, where am I looking? Chain oil.
Oh, it's channel for it's
For the chainsaw.
yes, yeah. Okay. Better question, but I didn't know what it was.
Not for the regalia. Not that chain.
It's obviously called it.
That's on there as well.
I don't think so.
Page 18. Page 19. Robin?
Just the toilet maintenance, was that a routine maintenance? It's 12,837, or was that additional maintenance that we undertook if anything what happened?
No, that's the healthmatic charge.
Yeah, that's fine. Thank you.
Page 20. Page 21. And that's the end of that bit. 5.4 is to note my endorsement of Robin. So 5.4 or okay. So to note my endorsement of the list of payments already been made. So Robin.
Yeah, nothing to that. I'll put the next item.
Okay. Do you want to say anything about it?
No, this is just one of the things that the auditor has asked for us to do. It's what Jodie has been emailing to all of you in advance, and what's these paperwork that Councillor Stubbs and Councillor Donahue are currently signing off.
In a meeting.
So we just need a minute to say that the chair is involved in them. Which is very fantastic. Thank you.
We're multitasking.
Right, so item 6, we've got the internal auditor's report, appendix D, Robin.
Well, I'd just like to pay, I'll say our thanks to the team working on the audit. Many of them, this is the first time round the audit, and about 65 things looked at and nothing found to be wrong. I think it's actually a compliment to them.
Definitely.
And please can we record our, well, I hope that people would agree that we record our thanks to the staff and look forward to maintaining such a success in the next year's audit.
Members happy that we record our thanks to the office.
Most definitely.
Did you want to say anything about it, or?
No.
Yeah, few.
Very relieved. I would like to say thank you to Jodie and Steve especially, who have done lots of work into start this year. There have been a lot. And you guys have been very patient when we fiddled with the financial regulations and dated you with the office and terms. But yes, so thank you to everybody.
Okay, so item 7, we've got asset register 7.1. So this is a report that Steve has put together. Would you like to speak on this, Steve?
Yeah, so I wasn't sure whether you're going to see the actual asset register itself tomorrow for next week's from council, I think it is.
Yeah.
Yes.
When I was looking at the asset register, it came to light that we haven't actually got an asset register and disposal policy, which is recommended that we do have. So I copied and created and pulled one together, which is what's given it to you this evening. Primarily, obviously, it's about the terms of what goes in the asset register. A couple of years ago, the council voted to only include things over £1,000, I understand. So we did it primarily on that basis. But also there's some key bits in there about what to do with disposal, making sure you've got a proper track record and it's authorised correctly, and then we look at all options to dispose of something safely, environmentally friendly, or for reuse somehow.
Yeah, makes sense. Thank you for putting that together, Robin.
Well, firstly, thank you, Steve, for the asset register update. Is this through the chair something that if there was a major disposal, you'd just bring a note to the finance committee to say that we've got rid of those assets or disposed of them, or we've gained some assets for the same token, be additional records?
Yeah,
Just-
come back to the
Yeah, just so I know it will do, it's an obvious question, but
If it's an addition one, it would come through a committee anyway for the expenditure. And if it was a disposal, then it would be depending on the amount of what I put in the policy. It would have either been done by the clerk or by if it's over her threshold by a particular committee or full council anyway, and the appropriate disposal form would have been signed by the chairman of that committee.
I think that with it, it's just that the actual asset register will be a live document where the policy will be a permanent document. And so, and I noticed in the back of it, you've got the environmental points you referred to, which fits in with the council's policy on environmental impact. So that wasn't in the previous one because we haven't got a policy to that way. So that alone for that, it needs modernising. And it's always good to look at what we did or didn't do in the past, what often didn't do, I expect. So I'm very happy to accept the register personally. If anybody else has got anything to say.
I'm just happy with this report.
Yes, I'm happy with it because somebody else has written it for us. So, you know, always happy with that. But I just want to delve into the £1,000 because at the beginning you mentioned £1,000 on the new version of the asset register, but deeper in the document you then say a possibility of the item being resold for more than £1,000. But that wouldn't necessarily be on the asset register that we are looking at? Maybe.
This is correct, and that's where if you haven't got an asset register, it will say every penny of every value, that you may have things that would dip above or below. The intention of this policy is that if it's sold for more, then we believe it's going to sell, but we're going to dispose it. Then it will go through
Through a committee?
Yes.
Right. That's what I wanted to hear. Thank you.
Adi?
Yes, thank you so much. Actually, there's something I want to say on the previous item, but on this one, I think I do agree with the policy. The thing I was going to wonder was how we're going to do the depreciation. Do I have a depreciation policy on the assets on the register as well?
So in local government, the depreciation is not accounted for.
Or it's not? Okay.
So it's just a straight value. We have two values in the at the register, the purchase or initial price and the insurance value.
Okay. Then the other thing I was going to say was on the previous item, number 5. I do apologize for taking us back, but we had some recommendations there. Are we putting on an action report? I do apologize for taking us back. My hand was up, but apparently it wasn't seen.
Yeah, I didn't see you. Sorry, that's my mistake.
Yes. So that was on page 25 or 44. There's some recommendations there, particularly for council. So we're going to put that on an action report.
Recommendations. What would they go on?
I'm just going to do it, but I can put it on the action. It's only the one actionable. The other 2 have already been dealt with and signed off and audited. So it is just the basically we do an internal controls review and always have done, but he just wants it documented in a particular way. So we'll introduce his paperwork and action out as a yearly thing that we do.
Okay, so they don't necessarily need to go on our action list if they've been done.
The ones that have been done, I would say,
Done, yeah.
suggest there's no point, but you could argue. I wouldn't want it as a rolling, because it's something we're going to do every year. I wouldn't necessarily want to keep something on the action list indefinitely. So
Yeah.
you can put it on in the first instance if you like.
Are you happy that we put it on the action list for, what item is it that hasn't been done?
It's number 2.
Is it C1 and 2?
Yeah, basically, C1 and 2.
You can't propose something if you're not in a physical meeting. You can ask someone to propose it. As otherwise, there's no point in having statutory law with a meeting. You have to be present.
Okay, well, do you have any issue with them going on the action report? Okay, well, if we put them on the action report, I'll propose it then, as Abby's not here, so you can't propose. Is that seconded?
Agreeable?
Go for it.
Yeah, okay.
Yes.
Can we have a show of hands?
Yes.
Thank
You
you.
can't do it.
Thank
You have to be at a meeting.
Okay, thanks, Robin.
Thanks, Andy.
Okay.
Anthony.
Yeah, just going back to the asset list.
Yeah.
I'm used to commercial asset lists where the information is more about the value of the assets, therefore the value as part of the value of the company. Whereas here it sounds like it's a list of items that have been purchased. And yes, you keep track of input value, output value, but nevertheless, that is of secondary importance against the things that are on the list. Is that a reasonable thing to say, Steve?
Yes, I would say, although, as I said, a depreciation is not accounted for in local government, for every item on the list, we have got a secondary insurance figure.
Right.
So in reality, we've got an up-to-date valuation for it. It just in our actual assets value,
Yes.
it sticks at what it was at the original
Yeah.
purchase price. It's an anomaly of accounting that,
Yeah.
from a banker, I scratch my head out.
Yes, because depreciation can play quite a big part in commercial industrial work, that's for sure.
Which is why we have the insurable figure.
Yeah, sure.
On there as well,
Sure.
to give a more realistic
That's fine.
figure. I mean, you could have a big piece of land completed to you, and you report it as a pound in your asset register.
Yeah.
Steve, I thought about this last time. Do you want to join us at the table? Because
You're very welcome.
Having started there, I'm happy to declare the invite to do so, but
are you sure?
I'm all right for now, unless people can't see or can't hear me.
Well, we can hear you okay, mate, no worries.
Yeah, it's just like your comfort really, whether you'd be better off at the table, but if you're happy there.
I'm okay for that.
Well, feel free, do you want to move over? Just move over.
Thank you.
Okay. Martin and then Anthony.
Yeah, sorry, coming back to my £1,000, going through the document, it says with a value less than £1,000, which is good, but in 2.2, it says values in excess of £1,000. So we just need to reword that. And I believe the rest of the document is talking about less than £1,000, where of course we've missed a pound then if we.
Yeah, in 2.2, that was reference only to the previous minute that was made.
Okay then, right, as in the back,
Throughout the actual policy itself.
it's less than
I
£1,000.
have to word carefully and checked it 2 or 3 times. I'm not saying I haven't missed one, but
No.
I don't think I have.
No, because that's verbatim, that's for the minute then.
Yeah.
Yes, no, that's fine then. Thank you for that clarification.
Anthony, then we'll go.
Thank you. This is a personal bee in my bonnet about forms, particularly that are done portrait style. I like to see them if you need a bit more space to go landscape style. And I'm never going to fill this in, so it's a moot point, but nevertheless, because there's never enough space to put descriptions and in the boxes if you've got quite a complex descriptions going, for example. So I'm always looking for a little bit more space, particularly if they're handwritten, if they're printed out and handwritten, and you get this wincy little bit of space to fill it in, and everybody does their best spider writing in it. So just a gentle suggestion that if it's deemed sensible, turn them and do it. I don't know what you're going to be the guy filling it in, I guess, Steve.
I have a preference which way it is. Because of what you say, exactly what you say, the box is quite small. That's why I put it up to the reference column in there.
Yeah, sure.
Just so it's absolutely clear.
Yeah. I was thinking of the comfort of the user rather than
May
reading
I
it.
suggest, I will check the Word document, we'll fill them all in via Word and I will correct them all to expand box to.
Right, yeah, that's
It goes
fine.
into 2 pages and we'll do it that way.
Yeah,
It'll be
fine.
easier.
Yeah. Just a thought in passing, folks.
Don't you have 2 forms, one landscape, one a portrait?
No. Keep it consistent, Joe. Keep it consistent.
Right, well, Ben.
It's just a small one. Can we circulate the previous document? I don't think we need to have it when we agree at council, but I can imagine the obvious question someone will ask is, and I could ask is, well, we're agreeing with the document, but I can't see the old document. What are the changes? And I think we don't have to have them on the paper, but I think members could be circulated the old document. They could read the changes themselves if they want to.
The issue here was that there wasn't a previous policy.
Well, in which case, a strong note of recommendation with explanation needs to be put in the full council agenda, because that will be I know you said that, but we had a disposals policy and we agreed the fouls, but we didn't have a full policy like you put together. So I think just a note in there, an explanation, because we'll waste a lot of time doing something that we don't need to do. You can understand my logic with that, and a strong note in the recommendation. So it's self-explanatory, and that can't then be asked like it has been now.
Okay, so we've got 2 recommendations. So recommended that we review and recommend to full council to approve the revised asset register as at 31st of March 2023.
I have to withdraw that recommendation because you haven't actually seen the asset register tonight.
Okay.
That's going to full council. But my apologies, though, we have to in and out.
Okay, it's just 1.2 then, which could be 1.1. So we agree and adopt the proposed asset register and disposal policy. So are members happy to agree the new policy? Unanimous? Thank you.
Thank you.
Right, item 8, we've got grants, 22 to 23 review. And any members wish to speak on this? We've got 2 recommendations. Just to let you know that I did ask Claire earlier about the Transitions UK, the 4.2, which is on page 35 and 44. And Claire is going to look into it because we've still got £2,000 potentially public money out there.
I've done a little check. Jodie has, well, been in contact with the liquidator, but I haven't, that was in March, and I've not had an update since March.
Okay.
So I will chase up with Jodie and get back to you the next week.
Thank you. Right, so members read this report.
Yeah, well, they won't be agreed.
So we've got 2 recommendations. So it's recommended that the 2024 to 2025 grant application period should be from Monday 23rd of October to Friday 4th of December. Are members happy with that recommendation? Robin, are you happy?
Yeah, I'm happy with it. I think it's similar to what it was before, so there's no change. So any change is always a problem when people say, I didn't know. It's the end date, which is the most important part of it, that people know that they've got to have it in before that, which is done for our social media, but not everybody does social media, so.
No, it's yeah, it's fine. So can we have a show of hands for recommendation 1.1? Those agree? Thank you, unanimous. And then 1.2, for the next round of applications, the Charity Commission website will be used to confirm the accuracy of responses from relevant applications. The result of this work will be included in the grant award summaries submitted to committee. I think that is a very good idea. So is that a question, Robin?
Yeah.
Yeah.
We have in the past had, we used to give a grant to the community centre, but we still, it was a choice of the community centre not to take the grant, but we offered them. But I would ask that we go away and look at that one, because we have in the round, because even though we don't give them a grant, because they've asked not to have a grant, we still need to actually list it that it was offered, because I think we need to have an accounting line for that, because it was only through them writing to us saying they didn't wish to have a grant. And it isn't whatever, because it is something that we granted to, which is an asset of this council. I think I'd ask the town clerk to look at that and see how we, I'll take it on advisement, how that's added in addition. I don't really want to do it in full council, and I don't really want to do it in detail, whether it's something town clerk and officers go and have a look at, if there is a real reason why I've asked that question. Yeah.
Martin.
As this subject's come up, can I declare an interest in the community centre as I'm a trustee?
Absolutely, thank you. See.
On the basis, as I always say, the only stupid question is the one you don't ask. Can I just confirm that we're talking about in the grant application period 24-25, that Monday the 23rd of October to Friday the 4th of December is this year? That is the window for making applications for the period 24-25. So if I wanted to make a grant application, yeah, I would actually do that this year in that window.
When you say it out loud, it's obvious that that's
Yeah.
not clear, but yes. What
No,
you
there was no criticism, town clerk, at all. It's just that I know somebody who asked me about it and I need to tell them, and I don't want to look a big idiot with the wrong.
Just put 23 at the end of December.
At the end of that sentence.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Thank you for pointing that out. Robin, again,
Can I just, cannot remember what transition pay was after the chairman raised it.
it was the young people that had come out of criminal behaviour type things.
Yeah, makes sense now.
They were going to set up a support group in Buckingham, and they wanted initial like start-up money, if you like, to do projects specifically. In Buckingham, I think it was like 12 young people or something.
And then that came down and then they messed about a bit and then they got bust, yeah.
Yeah,
But
they're from Milton Keynes originally, I think it's just.
there was no, if I remember the conversation through you, Chairman, there was no organisation in Buckingham that did this.
Correct.
So that's why we took a decision to
Yeah,
pay
It
money.
was going to be Buckingham kids.
There was going to be Buckingham children.
yeah,
But they went bust with money that we
Yeah.
gave them. So I
Public
think,
money.
no, I mean, that's how it is. And no point discussing that because we don't know why they went bust. So
no, but the office is looking into it for us, so we've been assured that that is being looked into
you raised it at the beginning. And I
Yes.
think it's worth
for that reason.
discussing the very reason because
Yeah.
anyone wouldn't know what it was. I'd forgotten what it was.
Yeah.
But when I'd started talking about it and
that's
done
what it
back
is.
to me, the
Yeah.
conversation.
Yeah,
But
that's what it would do.
yeah,
So, are we happy to agree recommendation 1.2, hands up in the air if you agree, please? Unanimous, thank you. Okay, item 9, cost of fuel. So 9.1, we've got a report from the finance officer. And 9.2, we've got a summary of the actual costs. So we've got a report and then we've got appendix F. So the first one, our report, we've got recommendation, we note the fuel costs for 22 to 23. Has anybody got anything that they wish to discuss about the fuel costs? Half the course, really? So your hand up, Addy? No, okay. So are we happy to recommend that we note these fuel costs? Can we have a show of hands, please? Thank you, nice. And then our appendix F is a fuel cost breakdown. So if anybody's got any questions to ask, Robin?
it's as you said, it's what it is.
Mm,
And there's nothing we can do about that.
no. So members happy to note this breakdown? Yeah,
Yeah,
thank you.
the ride-on mower will get more use when I get trained on it though.
Are you going on the mower?
I wish.
Right, item 10, we've got town crier, we've got an update from the committee part. And we have a report there. And our recommendation is to note the report. Are members happy to note the report? Yeah. Yeah. Thank you. Number 11, we've got the review of the Shire Council's 20-mile-an-hour policy. So this is something that we asked our town clerk to bring back to us. Robin.
Through you, Chairman, what's the town clerk think it's from knowing the town council's policy, which is as aspiration and the fact that we attempted to progress something, we also put lots of paperwork into the community board well within time, and it never got processed and it wasn't signed off, and then miraculously the council's policy was changed. So under the old policy, we may have got money, and under the new policy, we didn't. Bearing that in mind, we are where we are. What's the town clerk's view on to recommend to committee how we and council, because it will be discussed, the likelihood of us being able to prospective policy, because the financial burdens are huge, and I think that just noting this report doesn't reflect that the cost of doing it is quite huge, and that was due to the decision of Buckinghamshire Council, which was a recommendation and a motion to Buckinghamshire Council, which came last year. So I don't know how we do that, and it's just because what I'm worried about is us saying to the town clerk, can you go away and look at this policy, and if we go and look at it, though we may all want to do it, it's the financial realities of doing that.
That's what this is. She has looked at it.
No, but I need a view from the town clerk on whether it's prudent to note the policy and move on, or whether there's a rational scope for doing the policy, really.
Yes. I'm sure we've all read it. It's very restrictive, it's very expensive. There's no guarantee that it'll be successful at the end of it. I'm struggling to see that it would be realistic, to be quite honest. That is the policy. I've cut and pasted it verbatim. There is no other research to do. That's what they've said.
Adu.
Well, thank you very much, Chair. I can't see what the town clerk can do about the policy, because it's a different body that sets up the policy. And looking at operating it has been quite difficult from what I can gather. I'm not sure how many places we have that's under 24 miles. Even the speed testing alone will be quite expensive. And looking at, I think one of the other things the police always report, and I'm sure Councillor Strachby is also aware of this, is the rates of accidents and whatnot. And I don't think we have much or any in our jurisdiction within the town at all. I think that's some things that always falls flat when it comes to the 20 miles per hour. So I'm sure Mr. Councillor Strachby is also aware of that when the police come and ask about, if they should approve it or not. It always has to be tied to accident rates and other factors too.
All right, thank you, Robin.
That's partly correct, but the council, Buckinghamshire Council, has 20-mile-an-hour limits, which within Buckinghamshire, so which are 20-mile-an-hour limits now. The argument that we get with speed thing, which I think Addy's referred to, is that police always come back and say, well, we won't enforce it or can't enforce it. The thing is that they can't enforce 20, they can't enforce 60, they can't enforce 30. Same question is, are they enforcing it? So I don't think we can do anything with it. I think we should record our disappointment at the proposal. We record our disappointment. The policy makes it difficult financially to meet the agreed policy of the town council, which was voted on and agreed to try and look at pursuing that. And I'd like to propose that we note the policy with the proposal that we note how expensive it is now to pursue this, with a note and explanation of the journey we had it to where we got to. I think for the minutes it needs to have that we did apply all this, we did do all that, we did apply. The previous town clerk did all the paperwork before the September meeting of the Buckinghamshire Council, which put forward, I think in September, the recommendation to change the policy. So that was September 2022, I think. But I think we do have to, because we'll get people come back to us and ask us why we aren't going for 20-mile-an-hour limit, because we agreed we would do. But we do need to actually be very careful how we record that. So people don't agree with me, they don't agree with me, but we'll see the questions the same.
So are you recommending that we add the background information, the history in the minutes of this meeting?
Yes. Because it should be an accurate recording of it. Why I'm proposing it makes it really difficult for us to pursue this policy for financial grounds. My explanation for that isn't in the minutes. My explanation for that is the fact that the policy changed during the discussion of this at Buckinghamshire Council. Also, the grant procedure that we applied for didn't progress through council. Now there is paperwork to say the dates that we applied and that. I don't think we need to have to put the whole paperwork in there, but I think there has to be a trail of explanation. Because if I was somebody out in the town centre and they said, well, the town council agreed a policy to go and look for 20-mile-an-hour limits. Now you've just reversed that policy completely. You have to just saying changing and not doing it or recommending it. There needs to be a record of why you said and what happened, because there's.
I understand what your recommendation is. I would just disagree on your wording in that we'd agreed to do it and now we're reversing that because we agreed to look into it. It has been, our hands are tied.
We applied for a grant.
Yeah, but that's separate
With the,
bit. So do we have a second, or can I go to you to ask for your thoughts? And then Addy, I'll come to you in a minute.
Add in paperwork to the minutes of this meeting that hasn't been presented to this meeting. This is a record of the minutes of this meeting or a record of what has happened and been discussed and seen by you in the room now.
Yeah.
So that would be a bit of an anomaly to bring in minutes from the previous meeting. We could refer to Councillor Stutbury's mention of the previous meeting when this was discussed.
yes, that's where I think you're right, Claire, because it's just you can't have paperwork. What you can do is totally appropriate in noting this report, because we can't make a decision for the council's policy on this. In noting the report, we should record those conversations about what happened, and I think those are a public record because they were agreed in the council meeting.
Okay, can I just check Addy now? Addy?
Thank you very much, Chair. I think there's a lesson to be learned here. You know, I think putting up a policy when we don't have full powers over that area is always very dangerous and tricky, and that's what's happened here. I think before we pass any policy, we should look at the boundaries of our powers as a council, and if it's anything beyond that, we should ensure we get the necessary approvals before we pass that policy, because that's what's come wrong around here now. Because another council who has power over that policy has now put in place things that are making it too expensive for us to implement our policy. So what we now need to do is to go back to our policy and see if we're going to revise that policy or incur the additional expense, which I don't think will be advisable. So I think it's a process thing that we need to look at and ensure that before we pass a policy, we make sure it's within our powers. That's what I would recommend. Thank you, Chair.
Okay, thank you.
We can recommend nothing, not in the meeting. What I would say is that that's partially correct and partially incorrect. The council's policy did not prescript before it changed the policy applying for a 20-mile-an-hour limit. It was up to the council to agree that policy, Buckinghamshire Council, within their policies. There was nothing in their policies like the change of policy. The change of policy was a recommendation to council from the cabinet member for transport and agreed in Buckinghamshire Council. I was at the meeting, didn't vote for it. It's a record, public record. What I think we have to do is stay where facts are, and facts are up to the point we had a discussion. There was an aspiration and a possibility of doing it, but it was up to Buckinghamshire Council to actually agree it. There was no policy at that point saying we couldn't have it, and there's still no policy that says we can't have it. There's a policy that says that if we do want it, we've got to pay a lot of money to do it. So effectively, and even then, it's still within the highways department to not actually agree with it. It's also still within the police's powers to not accept that they'll enforce it. None of those things, we can't make a policy that there was a policy before where there wasn't, because why would the cabinet member bring a policy to Buckinghamshire Council on 20-mile-an-hour limits and how we wanted to proceed with the funding? Because at the time, there was lots of community boards making bids similarly to Buckinghamshire Town Council or looking at doing transport and 20-mile-an-hour. And whether I agree with what the cabinet member did or not, he took a decision and took it to council, which is his right, to actually amend what was being said and done. So we can't invent a policy that wasn't there.
Okay, can we just bring it back? So your recommendation changing isn't to add in information, it is to point back to a previous meeting where this information will be found for members. And that we note this report.
And we note why this report's here, and we note the changes to the policy of Buckinghamshire Council.
Well, we'll make sure that's in the minutes.
We can't invent a policy that wasn't there.
Can we have a show of hands for those that agree to that I just said. Do you want me to repeat what I just said?
So.
So- We are recommending that we note this information in this report and that our minutes reflect the previous meeting where we discussed bringing this report back and why. So it's pointing back to the previous meeting. We're not adding in information in our minutes.
And that's the extent of what you wanted.
Yeah.
Yes, that's fair enough.
Yeah,
Yeah, I think,
show of hands, please.
I think that's fair enough.
Agree? Unanimous.
It's not for us to
Thank
decide.
you. Okay, so staff structure update. Do you want to explain why this is on there?
Yes, because in the last one, I forgot that we have a seasonal person who does some more for us, which is the one in the very bottom right-hand corner around maintenance assistant. And one of the reasons I forgot is that Paula did it last year. So I'm not adding anybody, I'm not amending or adding an additional post or any additional budget. It is something that we have done. I just forgot on the last one.
Members happy with that? Robin?
I'd just say it's a very useful piece of information.
It is useful.
And I think it's for the chair of, you know, to see how people mix in with where they mix into. I think,
It's useful.
and who they come under, maybe.
Yeah,
I think that will improve communication from a councillor's point of view, with who they communicate about officers in which they do and what they represent. So I think it's a useful information, and our volunteers have gone up to 3.
okay, so we're happy to receive that, members, yep.
Thank you very much.
Thank you very much. Item 13, updates from representatives on outside bodies. Do we have anybody on the outside body that you wish to update us on? Ben?
Just for information, Chairman, it was discussed, which public record now, about permanent beds in Buckingham Hospital was discussed at the House.
Okay,
You can go to the webcast of that element to do with the wraparound care. It was also discussed around the elements to do with how we proceed with people coming in and out of hospital. There's a conversation there which is incomplete, because members may get questioned, I do, about getting out of Milton Keynes Hospital into Bucks Care be what it is. Those are both public record. Also, there is a public record of the latest update from the cabinet member on the cabinet meeting in response to a question around the archaeology. I don't go into the detail of it, because if members are interested enough, they'll look it up themselves. I think that's enough.
excellent. Thank you. Anybody else on outside bodies? No? No, thank you. Okay, so our action report, appendix H, receive and discuss. So page 43 of 44. So anything on there members wish to discuss? Robin?
Just the town clerk has brought the 20-mile-an-hour back here. We've discussed it. I presume that we'll be taking that off the action list now.
Yes, as will the vehicle
Yeah,
purchasing costs.
yes, yeah, because we won't need it on the action list. Because
Martin?
Surely as is the debitors one then.
That's the debtors.
That one.
That is a rolling one that we do every committee.
in confidential.
That's the confidential bit we do at the end.
Yeah, like tonight.
Yeah, but does it stay on the?
Yeah,
To be honest, I could take it off because it's just automatically generated when we do the resources agenda, so it
Well,
probably doesn't.
It's not an action list thing, is it? Because it's been done, we've actioned it, and it's in the process now, isn't it?
Yeah, I suppose
Unless we
probably-
just want to be, no, we don't need it on here because
we do it every,
it's part of the process, isn't it?
yeah,
I'd keep the compliments, complaints and FOI because we don't do that every time.
Yeah.
Agreed. Yes.
yeah,
Yeah, that's a fair point.
yeah.
I can see what you're
Right,
saying.
thank you. Okay, and now we've got the committee attendee feedback form, appendix I. Members' thoughts on this? Robin?
couldn't fill it in on an iPad. I need it in paper. Maybe the boxes could be bigger. I can't write that small. If I wanted to start writing it, and also you probably need Bletchley Park involved in decoding it.
So you're writing, not the form.
But I think it, in a format, type in the answers to the questions and load it in is too much to ask the council. Writing it in the form is with dyslexia, I don't think it's possible, because I've got no means of correct in or autocorrect. So I'm not sure as a dyslexic how I could fill that form in.
Did you click on the link for the online form?
It won't work on an iPad.
Doesn't work, open properly on your iPad?
No, because this is Microsoft, and Apple won't like
Yes,
Microsoft.
it will,
Well,
Yeah.
but it doesn't go to a form anyway. I was going to bring that one up.
Have we not built the form yet?
It's done, it's on there.
Is it?
Yeah, but it doesn't link to it. But
Oh, no, because
this document doesn't link to when it says,
But not nothing
because
against
this
print,
is
with
going to
it.
be the paper copy that we would give out to hand out. If that makes sense, sorry.
Yeah, I think actually it's fine.
take the hyperlink.
I'm just saying that I don't think as a dyslexic
Yeah.
I could fill it in
It's quite
accurately enough to be able to fill it in. But I might, but asking someone to translate it's a big ask for that. If I would have the time to even do it.
And the only comment I had is at the end where it says by filling in the information, you give your explicit consent for your data to be used for this purpose only. But the form's anonymous. So what data are we sharing with theirs? Because that was the whole point, is we wanted an anonymous form, as what John and I first raised it. So really, there's no data, is there?
That's a pretty valid point. I suppose the only thing is that we would, if somebody physically handed it to us, we would obviously know who that person was.
We could be handing it in for somebody else.
You've been looking at data protection. Do we need that bit on the bottom?
I mean, technically, no, there's always the risk that someone will write their name and address on there.
But we wouldn't necessarily save it.
No, we wouldn't save it. It's,
If you kept that piece of paper, then you'd say that if you transferred it to something else, some summary document, then you wouldn't.
No, no, good point.
no. Martin, did you have your hand up again?
I did. We've got 9 boxes, but there's a box without a purpose. Which committee did you attend?
Yes, the last box, so.
I love to attend the blank committee.
Yeah, so that will come off then. Yeah.
It's,
The trick is to
Spot
put it
spotted.
other.
we've got one above the meeting.
Andy, did you have any thoughts on the form?
No, I think it's, I'm happy with it, and I do adopt the comments that have been raised already. Just trying to pull it up again. Fortunately, yes, I think the one on data collection, considering I'm not sure why we need to put that in there, and that's something that can be taken out. I think that's the only observation I had in it.
Okay, thanks.
Yeah.
Right, the members happy with this form? I
Yeah.
don't know what comments that Robin's made about dyslexia. Yeah.
So are you happy if it was a?
No, I'm agree. I should note it. It's a note in the thing, because we have to make due adjustments in law.
Yeah, got to
Reasonable
make it
adjustments.
accessible to all.
Exactly. If it was a thing where someone could get access to the building, it still have to be noted in the same characteristics.
Yeah. Right, thank you.
I don't
Thank
think
you
you
for putting
have
that
been
together as well.
No.
I don't have any announcements. So the date of the next meeting is Monday, 26th of June, following the staffing committee meeting. So thank you everybody for this bit, and then we're going to go to private. Can we resolve to go into private session?
Yeah.
We
Yeah.
can.
Thank you.
Yeah,
Sorry,
stop.
yes, if you could, let me just stop.
Well, we stop the website.
All of that form doesn't seem to be visible on the website.